Hi, welcome to April's Technique class with Michelle Last using the Your Perfect Day stamp set from Stampin' Up. We're making this card today, and on this card I've used the Just Married sentiment, and then on the inside I've put in cheers to the new Mr. and Mrs. and the hearts. Excuse me, I am going to change the sentiment up on the card that I'm going to demo you. So obviously this is perfect for someone that's getting married. I'm also going to do one that's going to be perfect for an anniversary. So your card looks like this. It has the silver border all the way around the outside on the front and on the inside, and it is a very small border, so do check your cardstock and make sure it lines up properly, and you may need to take a little bit off the white if you find it's too tight for your liking. So inside your card pack you're going to have the pieces that you're going to need on the inside for the inside and on the front for the outside of the card. And I, as you know, on one of the other cards I already used a piece of the vellum, but you're going to come back to that in a moment. So this scrap piece is for you for stamping the wreath, and this is the piece that is going to nest on top of the silver like that and go on the front. Now if you want, like I say, to be able to see more of the silver, then by all means trim away and do that. So let's stamp the wreath first. Now I haven't mounted the wreath stamp because I wanted to show you when you mount it on the block, you can mount it, and before you know it, I don't know if you can see, but we've got like an oval shape going on because the photopolymer will bend and stretch, and you may struggle, you may not, to get a nice circle, and you might keep turning it over and going, oh no, it's got a bit of a funny lump there. So just a tip, one of the best ways to do it is to just throw the stamp down, because it will naturally form the shape that it was made. It's not distorted in any way, and then if you put your clear block over the top, you should be able to look at it and think, okay, am I happy with that shape? Now just to show you, I got a bit stampy in at class, and I made one that was an oval shape. So actually if you had a sentiment that needed slightly wider, you could make it more oval, or I made a circular one. So they're just slightly, very slightly different, but I wanted to show you the difference. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use the Pear Pizzazz ink, and you're going to stamp the wreath onto your scrap piece of card. If you're really if you're lucky enough, you might be able to fit two on your piece of card, but you're just going to stamp it, and then you're going to hand cut around it. Now I'm not going to make you hand cut, watch me hand cutting, but just to say, I found it easier to go one way. So I found it easier to cut around the leaves this way, and I found it easier if I went round the leaves from this angle. So if I went and did that cut, and I did this cut and went round the leaf that way, that when I carried on in the forward fashion, it would cut and meet up with that line. I just found that easier to do. A little tip for cutting the inside is find a punch, a small punch that will go in the middle of the wreath, punch it out, and then you can use that, and I would recommend you cut away most of the card before you start doing the intricate cutting. You'll just find it give you a little bit more room to get your scissors in, and you'll find it's so much easier to cut out. Okay, so then what you're going to do is cut that out, and like I say, I won't make you watch me do that. And I'm going to find the one that I did earlier. So I've cut around my wreath. I've got a white border around. Don't be too worried about showing too much of that. I'm going to grab my pieces of white and my pieces of silver foil paper. And I told you to check that you were happy with those. I might just take a little bit extra off there, just a fraction. So bear with me while I'm doing that. There we go. Just a fraction, and then that's going to just give me a slightly bigger border. Okay, so I'm going to stick that in place. Just like that, and then I'm going to stick that on my card front. Okay, So that's my card front, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the inside. I need to trim off another little bit off there and stick that on the inside, but I won't bore you with that element. Then the wreath will go wherever you want the wreath to go. It can go in the middle, go bottom right if you wanted to, or you can go top middle. Just think about the greeting you want to put on there. Obviously I put just married on this one. This one I'm going to put, what does it say? For the two of you, because I thought actually this could be a good anniversary card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my verse mark, I'm going to stamp or ink up the for the two of you, and stamp that in the middle, and I'm going to put my wreath around it. I'm going to be using my silver embossing powder, which I have just put safely just here. And what I thought I'd do on the inside is the heart plus the heart, which is in the stamp set, which would be perfect for an anniversary, wouldn't it? That's one of the ones I forget, actually, anniversary cards. It's one of the ones I don't have a stock of, and you hear it's someone's anniversary, so that'll be perfect. So I'm going to do the for the two of you. Just going to shake any excess pieces off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my dimensionals, and I'm going to snip into the edge piece here and cut off, make some very small little foam pads, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to find the large sections on the back of my wreath and just stick the little tiny pieces in place, and just stick it down by these strategic points on the back of the wreath. Just need a couple more. Can you hear noise downstairs? I'm having my kitchen floor laid. Kitchen fit has been all quiet all morning, been on his own, and now he's obviously got a helper arrive, and they've been all loud and animated. I do apologise, but I need my kitchen floor down, so I'm not going to ask them to shush. There we go. We've got our foam pads. Going to peel the backing off. There we go. Think about which way up you want your wreath to go. And I'm going to put it on like so. Now I have got a little bit of the dimensional poking through here, so I'll just make sure that that's where I put a flower. So I'm going to use the Itty Bitty Accents punch, and I'm going to punch out two of the larger flowers. And I've also got the Itty Bitty Accents punch from the retired set. I just fancied a smaller flower. I think it looks really pretty. So I'm sorry if you don't own that one. But you may have a smaller flower punch that you can use. I'm going to use my mouse mat, and I'm going to press down in the middle of the flowers just to give them a bit of dimension. So I've got two large ones and three small ones. Then I'm going to find my glue dots and stick them on my wreath in a strategic place. One's going there because I want to cover up that dimensional, and another one is going over here, and then the little one, I'm going to just cluster them. I'm going to put one there. I have to say this is one of my favourite cards of all time. I absolutely love how delicate it is and how pretty it is, and how it's suitable for any occasion actually. So, and then I'm going to put another one just there, and then I feel like it needs something else, so I'm going to go to my rhinestones or pearls, and I'm going to add those. She says, hesitating, where are they? Rhinestones. I'm going to go pearls again. The pearls just look so sweet on the wedding set. I'm not quite sure I've gone down the pearl route, but I'm going to carry on. I just need to cut 5 off there. So I use the pokey tool to get underneath to pick up the glue, because there's glue underneath the pearl, and if you don't get underneath it, it can leave the glue behind and you'll end up with a pearl with no adhesive on the back. So I use a pokey tool, or the sharp part of your scissors works just to, like a charm. There we go. Centralise that pearl, wasn't quite in the centre. There we go. And then the greeting, like I say, I would put on the inside. Now I've just realised I've forgotten a step. Can you see on this card we've got the embossed edge? Can you see it just around, just finishes the card. This one I haven't, but I'm going to show you how to do it on the inside. And I also wanted to show you how I made another version of this card, and I added the embossed edge, but I didn't add the silver. So you can find whichever is your preference, whatever you prefer, but I'm going to show you how to do the embossed edge. So grab your piece of white, and I'm going to trim mine a fraction because I told you it was slightly too big and I was going to trim it anyway. Let me just do that now. I'm going to trim it a fraction so that it fits nicely on the silver foil, and then I'm going to use my scoreboard, but you could use your paper trimmer if you wanted to, whatever works for you. So I'm just going to get my scoreboard. Here we go. Now this is going to be tricky because if I move that slightly, so you can see the top of it at least there. I'm going to move that plate, and what you want to do is you want to line up your piece of paper on the scoreboard. See if I can zoom in for you. If I zoom, I think you're not going to be able to see if I do that. So you want to see where your bit of paper comes to. My bit of paper comes to the edge mark here of 3 7/8, just to the edge. And so I'm going to do my score line, the next one in, and I'm not going to go all the way at the top of the piece of paper. I'm actually going to start about 1/2 centimetre down. I'm going to find the groove, and I'm going to go all the way down until 1/2 centimetre from the bottom, just roughly. And I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to line it up again. I'm going to line it up to the same, even though I've moved it away from the edge here, what I'm doing is making sure the piece of paper finishes the same where the last piece of paper finishes, which was just before the little valley on my measurement here. Okay, and then that means that when I choose this next score line, it should be the same distance from the edge as from the previous line, and again not all the way down, leaving 1/2 centimetre gap just here. Turn it again, that should be right up to the edge, lovely. I'm now going to score down, not all the way down to the edge, and then when I turn it I'm going to do the same, make sure it's the same, in the same position, and just finish off that last score line, which means I have a nice even score all the way round the card. And when I stuck it down, I actually stuck it so that the score line was raised. It just adds a nice little detail and feature on a very plain card. So if you want to add that, you're more than welcome to do that. So I will use it with this card, and I'm not going to have a silver background on that one. That one I'm going to go plain without, and that one I went the whole shebang and did foil and score line. So very simple card, but very pretty and classy. So I hope you enjoyed making that card, and thank you for joining me this month. Thank you.